All right, welcome back to the channel. We got a boogeyman in boxing, an official boogeyman. His name is David Benavidez, and he is the undefeated, now 175-pound WBC champion as Dmitry Bivol drops his belt instead of fighting David Benavidez. And many people are crying, duck, 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 duck. But not only that, are saying some things about the way that the whole thing went down. Let's talk about that in this video. All right, welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Fanon, and in this video, the WBC was handed their belt back by Dmitry Bivol. Instead of Dmitry Bivol following up on his obligation and fighting the mandatory challenger, David Benavidez. Many people are calling this a duck. Some people are saying that it is not a duck, and we'll go through it. We'll go through the argument that it is a duck. We'll go through the argument that it is not a duck. But what is most important is that David Benavidez is now a champion in that division, and no matter what happens this particular fight, after that, there should be no more excuses. And whoever it is that wins that fight between Bivol and Beterbiev have got to fight David Benavidez. But before I get into the details, let me welcome you back to the channel. If you're new to the channel, please accept my invitation to hit the subscribe button and hit the bell icon so you can be notified of when we release more videos. And if you're a longtime subscriber and supporter of the channel, thank you guys so much for your continued support. It really makes a huge difference to the channel, huge difference in my life personally. So thank you guys. Thank you guys. Thank you guys. This thing can be cut both ways. First of all, Dmitry Bivol was the undisputed champion at 175 pounds. He was until he relinquished the belt. When he relinquished the belt, his lawyer, Pat English, sent in a note and explained why they dropped the belt. And basically what he said was that they were put in a situation of having to drop the belt because they have a fight scheduled, a trilogy fight scheduled with Dmitry Bivol. Also, that they claim that the IBF, their mandatory was due before the WBC's mandatory was due. So therefore, they've been put in a bad situation, and Dmitry Bivol has been forced to vacate the title. Not because he doesn't want to vacate, not because he wants to vacate the title, but because of the way that the WBC has ordered it at an inappropriate time. That is pretty much what was said by the attorney English about it. Now, here's the problem with that. Number one, the IBF has not ordered a mandatory fight between Dmitry Bivol and whoever the IBF mandatory is, because we know for sure who the IBF mandatory is not. The IBF mandatory is not the person he's going to be fighting next, which is Arthur Beterbiev. So the fact that Pat English brought up that the IBF mandatory was due next is kind of irrelevant because the IBF didn't order the rematch. So clearly the WBC ordering it is not trumped by the IBF, who hasn't ordered it at all. They are just making the argument that the Bivol should be able to sit around, hold the belt until the IBF orders it next. Now, do I think that this is a duck of Dmitry Bivol and and David Benavidez? I personally do not think that that is a duck. And that is because we know that you have a rubber match coming up. Now, there's talk that Arthur Beterbiev may not want to fight anymore. Artur Beterbiev, being over 40 years old, may say, hey, he doesn't want that fight, and he's kind of done or whatever. But aside from that, you're looking at a fight that was, I didn't get to see the second fight. I saw the first fight, didn't get to see the second fight, the one that Bivol won. But, traditionally what you see is a big push for a big push to get that last fight in. So, I don't necessarily think that's a duck as long as Beterbiev really wants to fight. But the thing is that no matter what happens after that third fight takes place, time's up. You're going to have to fight David Benavidez. Either Artur Beterbiev is going to need to fight him, or Dmitry Bivol is going to need to fight him. And they're going to need to fight him in the next fight. And I have to tell you right about now, I do believe that David Benavidez is about the biggest boogeyman that there is in boxing, because he cannot get a fight with the top guys in the division at 168, and now we can't get a fight with the top guys at 175. What Canelo Alvarez has been doing to Dimitry, doing to David Benavidez is well documented. Just absolutely refusing to fight the guy. And Turki Al-Sheikh, has not talked at all about trying to pay for or convince Canelo Alvarez to fight David Benavidez. And let's talk for a second about Turki Al-Sheikh's treatment of David Benavidez. If he was not going to do the rematch, right? He was not going to have David Benavidez do the fight, the winner of that second fight. Then what in the world did Turki Al-Sheikh invite him to come out to Saudi Arabia and spend his time there for? Did he tell him, you can fight as long as Dmitry Bivol doesn't win? Then we can make the fight with Beterbiev if Beterbiev wins 2 in a row. It doesn't seem like that was the understanding that was given to David Benavidez, and I think that he felt a little bit put upon and considerably mistreated by Turki Al-Sheikh in that situation. But hey, man, what do you expect? I'm telling you that's the way that PBC fighters can look forward to being treated by Turki Al-Sheikh. That was just underhanded. But I'm telling you, man, this is the biggest boogeyman in boxing. It's the biggest boogeyman in boxing right now. I can't think of anybody else that is getting avoided by top fighters I can't think of anybody that is being avoided by top fighters in the fashion that David Benavidez has been avoided by top fighters. Now, Canelo and Bivol now, but we'll see whether or not Bivol comes back and whether or not Bivol comes and fight him. Now, if he doesn't fight him, I'm going to tell you what people are going to say. If Bivol does not give David Benavidez that fight, people are going to point to the rumored sparring that took place between the two and say, hey, man, we know what the reason is. The reason is that David Benavidez was beating up Dmitry Bivol in sparring. He knows him, and he just don't want to smoke with him. And Turki Al-Sheikh isn't going to give him the fight because he doesn't want Al Heyman and those guys to have one of the biggest names in boxing. Also, want to put this out here, that if you look at the numbers that the fight did between Dmitry Bivol and Artur Beterbiev, there's almost no way that if they have a fight with David Benavidez and either one of those guys, that those numbers will not do that well or better, because the fight was not that popular. They said there was 340,000 worldwide that bought the pay-per-view. But worldwide, you're not charging for the pay-per-view. In the United States is where you're primarily charging for that pay-per-view. For the rest of DAZN, it came along with the subscription, except for in the case of, American citizens, in which we have to pay for it. Also, I do want to point out, man, that there's some really good fights coming up. I'm looking forward to, just heard that George Kambosos and the IBF champion at 140, Richards and Hitchens, should be fighting each other. So look, man, we got some really good boxing coming up. Anyway, that's my take on the matter. Please let me know what you think in the comment section. And with that, I'm out. Deuces.